I'm Isadora, and today we're going to talk about transforming anger into power. And this is the first of my free video series designed to help you have practices to do at home, to work with your emotions, to develop a practice of meditation, and really just to improve your life. And this first one is coming to you on Thanksgiving. So I thought it would be perfect to talk about working with anger and other strong emotions, because a lot of times it's our families is the first place that we learn some of these triggers to things like our anger or depression, just some of these really strong emotions. And I want to talk to you today about how to work with them and transform that into power instead of just suppressing or repressing those strong emotions. Because strong emotions, like anger, can actually be like an ally for you in transforming yourself. And, if you think about anger itself as an element, it's fire. And I know when my anger comes up, I start to feel a lot of heat in my body. And so how can we begin to work with that fire to help us experience power instead of creating negative patterns or lashing out at other people? And one of the most important ways to make sure that we don't end up lashing out at other people is to not suppress or repress what we're actually feeling. And especially when people start to develop a spiritual practice or meditation, it can become really easy to start judging yourself, that you shouldn't feel angry, or you shouldn't feel depressed, or you're supposed to feel just positive all the time. And, I tell people we have to work to create positive energy in our lives using real tools like yoga or meditation or positive intentions, because life is challenging and life can be really difficult. So it is important to use a practice to keep cultivating positive energy and to transform things that feel negative into positive energy. So thinking about anger, I often tell people, think about a volcano. If we look in nature, we can see that the element of fire is necessary to transform things, to bring new life. Otherwise, things would become stagnant. And thinking about a volcano, when a volcano erupts, oftentimes there is what looks like destruction of property, and sometimes even, people are harmed or die. And obviously, when we look at that, it seems like a huge tragedy in that moment, and it is. But when we look at that over a longer scale of time, sometimes that volcano is actually recreating life. And volcanic soil later on is some of the most fertile soil for new things to grow. And the same thing happens after a forest fire, as at first there's what looks like destruction, and afterwards there's actually more fertile ground, again, for new growth. So think about that for yourself. How can you take this heat or this fire of strong emotions and your anger and transform it into something useful that can change stagnant areas of your life or old patterns? And it reminds me of a story by a philosopher, Nietzsche. And Nietzsche said that there are 3 stages to our evolution, and that we start out as the camel, and that the camel is depressed and sleepy. And I think that you can relate to that, the places that you've kind of come from or the conditioning that you have, especially family patterns of depression and feeling really tired in your own life. And that's the first stage, when we're still asleep and we're stagnant. And the second stage to our evolution is the lion. And that's the energy of fire. So at that point, someone starts to wake up. You start to wake up and you say, you know what, I don't necessarily believe all the things that I've been told to believe, or I don't want to stay in a depressed state anymore. And so it's often this very fiery or forceful energy, which is like your anger, it gives you the courage to start to make changes in your life and to wake up. So that's called the lion, and that's the element of fire. And that leads to the third stage of your evolution, and that's called the innocent child. So when you actually come into that space, you're not rebelling against anything. You're actually coming into a place of simply being who you are and experiencing your own joy. So let's take this into the example of spending time with your family on Thanksgiving. So you may go home to spend time with your family on Thanksgiving, and you may think that you've become so evolved and you're past a lot of your old patterns. And as soon as you get there and you're around your family, you might get triggered into old states of feeling depressed or feeling angry or even acting out a lot of your old childlike behavior. And if you notice that starting to happen, again, that you want to try and move yourself into the state of that innocent child, of simply enjoying being who you are and not feeling you have to fight or be rebellious to be who you are. And also not going into those old patterns of being depressed and suppressing or denying your energy. So the meditation I'm going to teach you, you can begin to make this a practice that you do every day, especially if you feel like you want to work with anger in your life. You could do it for 7 days. And for that 7 days and over that period of time, I think you'd see a really big transition of how that anger can then become useful energy or positive and powerful energy to help you be passionate versus a destructive energy of the anger. So the other way that you can apply this is if you find yourself getting angry at any given time, you can immediately use this practice to transform that anger into something more powerful and positive, moving you towards that state of just being passionate and happy and joyful, being yourself. So this practice is based on an old meditation from Tibet, and you're going to begin by going into the difficult emotion. So instead of sitting here and saying, you know, I'm going to meditate on peacefulness, or I'm going to meditate on loving kindness, you're actually going to meditate on the difficult emotion that you would normally be trying to suppress or repress or change. And especially places where you're holding a lot of self-judgment. These are emotions that you want to start meditating on so that they can begin to dissolve and transform. Because what you suppress and repress is just going to explode or continue to repeat itself through your subconscious. So we're going to take that subconscious and bring it up into your conscious so you can feel it, release it, let it go, and move forward. So I want you to begin this practice just dropping into your own body. So we spend a lot of time in our heads in the modern world. I want you to just place your hands on your belly so that you're reconnecting the mind to your deeper body sense and to your gut. So close your eyes with your hands on your belly and take a few deep breaths, taking a deep inhale, expanding your belly, breathing deeply into your diaphragm, and exhale, drawing your belly button back to your spine. Again, deep inhale, allowing your belly to expand, and exhale, bringing the belly button back towards the spine. And one more breath like this. Inhale deeply into your belly, expanding, feeling that deep sense of calm and peace. And exhale, belly button comes back towards your spine. So from this more relaxed space and tuned into your gut and your gut emotions, I want you to think of a person who you have the most anger towards right now. Now, this could be a person from your past, or this could be a current situation. And at first you may have resistance and think you're not angry at anyone, but we're all human, and most of us do have some anger. So I want you to really allow your mind to clarify without resistance or judgment who it is that you have some anger and that you want to work with that in this meditation. And once you become clear who that person is, I want you to hold that person in your mind's eye as if they were standing right in front of you. In fact, as if they were standing so close to you that it caused a physical reaction. And this is the practice of being able to use your visualization and your imagination and use that to meditate. And this is something like in an acting class where they'll tell you to imagine you're holding a cup of coffee and then to imagine you're smelling the coffee until you actually start to salivate, like you can taste the coffee. So I want you to actually hold this person and hold them so close to you that, again, the body starts to react. If you feel heat or fear, whatever it is that comes up when that anger passes through the physical body. And without judging it and without suppressing it, I want you to actually begin to work with that. So again, keeping your eyes closed, tuning back into your gut and your body sensation, taking a deep inhale and breathing in that feeling that comes up towards that person of the anger or the strong emotion. And then when you exhale, I want you to relax and send out a cooling relief. Again, when you inhale, breathing in, this sense of heat or anger or difficulty, something you would normally avoid, and on the exhale, sending back a cooling relief. So inhale, breathing in and allowing yourself to really feel everything without judgment, without suppression. And then on the exhale, sending out a cooling relief to everyone else who's ever felt the same way. And I want you to stay with this practice. Every inhale, breathing deeply into your belly and feeling any places that you're holding, the sensation and what it feels like in your body. And exhale, sending out that cooling relief. And allow yourself to be surprised. Sometimes these feelings start to transform. What starts out feeling as anger can sometimes turn into a deep grief or sadness. And just allowing yourself to be with what is. Every time you inhale, allow yourself to really feel and be present. Don't judge it with your mind. Simply feel. And with every exhale, sending back that cooling relief to everyone else who's ever felt the same way. Because it's important not to judge ourselves and to remember that other people have felt these exact same emotions that we would normally judge ourselves for. I'm going to take a few more breaths just like this. Again, inhale, allow yourself to feel whatever that difficult emotion might be without judgment. And exhale, sending out that cooling relief. One more time, inhale, breathing it in. No judgment, only feeling the sensation in your body. And exhale, sending out that cooling relief to everyone else who's ever felt this way. And then release this meditation and just take a few deep breaths. Inhale deeply into your belly. Exhale, letting it go. Just deep, clearing breaths, coming back into the present moment. Release the meditation, releasing the visual of that person in your mind and opening your eyes. And just feeling where you are now, and notice how different you feel. So once you actually allow yourself to feel those suppressed feelings and emotions, you have a lot more space, and you actually do have a feeling of peace and loving kindness and love for yourself. Because when we feel anger or difficult emotions and then we judge ourselves and repress ourselves, we don't love ourselves, and that just builds up more tension and more anger. So this is a very important practice. Like I said, you can start to do this every day for a week to really learn to transform your anger into something that can bring you more joy and passion into your life. And also learn how to just do this whenever your anger comes up. Just even 1 minute of taking breaths like that. And instead of suppressing and repressing and letting these things build up until they become volatile or until you're eating yourself up with these repressed emotions. Just start to process things as they happen. Inhale, I allow myself to feel. And exhale, I send out that cooling relief. And the other thing about working with anger, and this is a piece of homework for you after this video, I want you to think for a moment. All anger basically comes from the feeling of having an unfulfilled desire. So anger is more on the surface, and it's our reaction. And deeper than that is the unfulfilled desire, and sometimes a sense of grief or loss at the unfulfilled desire or what it is we feel we didn't get. So awareness is really important also in releasing. Feeling without judging and letting go is important, and creating a sense of awareness of what's going on inside our subconscious is the other way that we really begin to transform. So I want you to take a minute, this is your homework, and think that that particular exercise you did and the person that you decided to work with in feeling that anger and letting it go, what is the unfulfilled desire that you have around the relationship with that person? and maybe allowing yourself to go into the feeling of grieving what that was that wasn't fulfilled, and feeling that just like you felt the anger. Allow yourself to feel the grief that you would normally be hiding from, and then letting it go. And that's how you can begin to really move into living a more powerful life right now, and transforming your anger into power, into joy, and into passion. So thanks for practicing with me, and I'll see you again soon.